That's right. It's number 1 and number 2 on the rank leaderboards. Beastie and DeMusliM clashing on the ladders. Let's go. It's a high view. For some Mongol on Rus action. Okay, I'm game. We've been seeing a lot of this at the moment, actually. It's kind of interesting how often we're getting the Mongol Rus specific matchup. It's quite a fun one to watch as well. We were watching the Road to Wallalow game between Core and... Who was it? Oh, yes, UE Metal. I was about to say Mermel. Core and UE Metal earlier, where this actually has some interesting dynamics to play, where they're both going greedy. I wonder if we'll get that same level of greed, or if there'll be some more kind of exploitative early aggression on both sides. Because although Beastie is a player happy to go late game, usually he likes to do it with a clear lead, and when he's playing as the Mongols, that lead usually comes off the back of some outposts to block out valid resources from your opponents. And, well, this generation might allow for that. You could very easily find your way to blocking off the wood from DeMusliM on both sides. Actually quite an open spawn for both players. This, I actually like it. I don't know about you guys. I kind of prefer it when you get these kind of openings on high view, just because it lends itself to like aggressive openings. Those aggressive openings in themselves come with risks due to the approaches through the stealth forest that can be exploited both ways. So I have to see if they're exploited at all. Beastie QT, one issue you might have is gold is very far away, but luckily you got a back spawn, God bless. I mean, if he got forward spawn twice, I think he's just thumping his head against the keyboard and feeling like it's over already, because early Archer Rush could shut you out entirely, but this way, like, it's much harder for the Archers to reach around. They can be exposed, so don't expect Beastie to get blocked out too early. DeMusliM, as long as he gets reasonable farm off of the bounty system, he shouldn't have to worry about his gold at all. Looks like that should be the case. Double wolf following him. Actually, is that triple? No, just double. Gets all the deer on the backside. Are there any deer in reserve? Ooh. Yes, there are. Beastie. He's realizing it. He's dragging back the wolves as well. Meanwhile, on the other side, Khan was able to clean house here. Looks like DeMusliM has gone up to the third scout. Overall, good gains, actually. Dragging in a total of 4 more wolves. Looks like this should be a 300 breach on the bounty system, which is kind of on par with what I expect these days out of high-level players. It's very difficult to block them out past that mark. It's just a matter of the way things have like evolved. I feel like players, they've been spending so much time playing the Roost. They've spent so much time playing these maps. They kind of know the rough spawn, and they know how to optimize their paths to net a positive outcome, which is usually about 300 to 350, I'd expect. It's kind of funny as well, because I'd say just a month ago, it was kind of like, whoa, this guy got over like 200, like, oh, not 250. He got over 280 like bounty. Damn, he's doing really good. Now I feel like if I don't see 300 bounty, I'm just numb to it. I'm like, well, could have been better, couldn't it? Oh, another wolf being found. So DeMusliM actually getting a great one here. Beastie is a little bit slow here. Look at the resources right now. Wow. I'm surprised how much he's behind by, but then again, we do have to give respect to what this is. So the fact that the Roost player doesn't have to go onto gold, so he saves resources needing Gur, which was a big limiting factor for Beastie because, you know, for him, this is 100 wood. For other civs, it can be 50. And then on top of that, he didn't actually have to invest villages onto that gold as well as building up the building. Instead, he just relied on the static gold he got from bounty. And this is why I will always, like, you know, I would love to see this track. It would be probably a hard thing to track. I don't know, like, how accessible this info is in Age of Empires 4. Actually, considering AO4 World does show build orders, it probably is feasible. I would love to see them showing the average tech timings, because that stuff comes up in stats at the end of games. I would genuinely love to see the average tech up timings per civs, because I feel like the Rus would be notably ahead of every other civ in the game. Something that the Rus are also ahead in is the ball plays. No civ does it more frequently than them, and he's going to sneak into the stealth forest. Looks like it is scouted out by Beastie. Beastie with no way of stopping this. Also, it'll be a reasonable hunting cabin because it's slap bang in the middle of the stealth forest, so this should yield, I'd say, about 21 gold. Maybe slightly less with the Wooden Fortress. I'd say 19 gold. Especially considering that he's up at tier 2 bounty, almost free. Khan. Yeah, this Khan, he has no place being here. Like, BC's like, this is about it. This doesn't do anything. He will want to back away quite fast from this. In fact, yeah, I don't think you can kill one villager before you have to leave. DeMusliM. Yeah, there you go. He looks set that he's gathered too much food now. We'll fast build up the hunting cabin. 24. Damn. Damn, I did not give it enough credit. I knew I was going to be wrong. I should have stuck with my guns. Yeah, this is the power stealth forest, though. It doesn't look like it compared to a thick, lush tree line like this, but like realistically, this looks more saturated than it actually is. It's very deceitful. But you can see the value of this map now. That's why I've been tuning for this for a long time. I remember at the start of the year when Viper especially was starting to engage the idea of Roost off of hunting cabin spams against civs that play defensive, and it was really effective because of these stealth forests giving you so much gold. Beastie now starting to plow his way out with the horseman. Interesting choice considering the arrow slits are definitely going to be there by the time you arrive. In fact, I wonder if DeMusliM is contemplating castle now into second TC. Most of the time when I watch Ben, he doesn't go for a TC before, a second TC rather, before castle age. And sometimes not at all. There we go. Outpost, knock on the side. However, is the reach good enough? Ooh. Nope, just short. Perfect placement by Beastie. Finally up into Feudal as well, so we'll be able to get the arrow slits. But new Winter Fortress going up. Okay. This is a pretty clutch choice by DeMusliM. A lot of players wouldn't even think to do this. They'd be like, it's kind of done. I need to back away. But instead, he rushes up the Winter Fortress, decides maybe it's not needed, but you do need to commit when the horsemen are revealed. And he'll get it up quick enough. He can garrison and insta-snipe the villager. So that is a bye-bye failed attempt for Beastie. We'll have to back away. Now one villager short for the Endeavor. Did force 175 wood investment. But the cool thing is, like, this is midfield and it's next to the relic as well. So in some ways, it's going to have like a multifaceted function. Not just protecting the boar now, but giving vision layer and actually guarding this relic in the event that DeMusliM is somehow delayed on his castle age and doesn't get to this relic fast enough. And the other cool thing is, like, now you can potentially go after the more aggressively postured relics first before coming back for this one. Especially if you get a Springwood upgrade straight away. These horsemen do feel quite worthless now for Beastie. He could try and sneak an outpost into the main base of DeMusliM, but the timing feels off now. I think that Beastie's fully aware that if he makes that play now, there's going to be a castle up coming out in time, and then you've not really slowed down anything. So instead, the best thing you can do is optimize his villages for a quick castle. And you can see he's even protecting the outpost just in case he's the one who comes under raid attack. DeMusliM. It's not going to take him long now. Plenty of gold already stored. Can start hoarding some supplies. In fact, he already has the wood, so he actually might do TC and Castle Age simultaneously at this rate. He can afford it. I expect him to actually use the wood to get the archery ranges instead. We'll have to see. Abbey Trinity being built up. Now, if you want the archery ranges, this is the good time to do it. You pull 3 villages, and each one builds up the archery ranges individually, so that the build speed is like matching up with the tech up. Remember that when you build archery ranges, the first villager that you like apply, well, not just archery range, any building, and there you go. I'll explain this play. When you go to build structures, the first villager is worth 100% of the build speed. No, duh, pigeon. So like the next one's worth 200%? Oh, the next are 100%? No. Every villager past the first one is worth an additional 25% in the build speed. That's a static number. It doesn't depreciate. So, for example, if you add 5 villagers total to build, then you're getting 200% build speed. And then, by that same logic, if you go up to 9, 300% build speed. So, this is more efficient, especially considering that the Abbey Trinity timing lines up. And you can see that perfectly here. Archery ranges already prepped. Abbey of Trinity complete. First round of horse archers ready to come out. The interesting play is that DeMusliM did go on the stone, and he reveals just how much he took, enough that he could be going for a second TC, so BC should be acutely aware of this and try to aggress him. This is where getting a second stable could be a play, but the problem I think BC now has is horse archers heavily discount lancers. This matchup is very different these days. It used to be a little bit earlier on, like back in the old days when the yam was truly broken and lingered. You could actually get away with a lot of explosive plays with lancers against horse archers. That's not the case anymore. You instantly lose the yam, so unless you set up forward outposts, you can't do anything with them. In fact, a better play would be horsemen in that situation, and I wouldn't be surprised if that is the goal now for BC. it feels awkward as well because you want to utilize this extra gold take. The way you can do so, actually, is while pushing horsemen, use the gold to trade for wood and get a secondary TC to boom yourself up further. Garrison coming in. Will instantly be forced away. Boar is pretty much done now. Only 116 food left, so DeMusliM needs to shift these villages back soon anyway. I think that was maybe the timing beast he was looking for. He's probably counted this out. It's been around 5 minutes since he was last here. But the timing slightly got skewed when DeMusliM started garrisoning and building up the wooden fortresses. Otherwise, his timing would have been spot on. Now it looks like DeMusliM wants even more bounty. Tier 3 unlock. Gathering rates up further. Still has the berry reserve back at base. Might want to prime himself for a farm transition soon. He could easily wall in near the edge of this tree line and then do so up in the north as well. Could still be a TC extension over the north side as well. That does benefit him a lot. Although what benefits him more is housing for everyone. That would be a good thing to fix. Villagers. How is this going to sustain him? Pretend. Thinking like the goal for Beastie. So I think if he can get 3 relics, he can boost himself up to a secondary TC by 17, 18 minutes. But the timings aren't matching up right now. The relics are being grabbed too quickly. At this rate, DeMusliM should get 3, possibly 4 relics. This outpost is maybe the one redeeming quality, but the problem is he didn't go for the Springwood placement. So a Warrior Monk could just dive in and take this for free. And he's already diving in to take the midfield once. So that's going to be the 3rd one soon to be returned. You can see the 2nd one already on the way back. This is going to be 4 relics. In fact, at this rate, Beastie's maybe lucky if he gets 1. The only reason he's going to get a single one is due to the prayer tent back here already in position. Bad news is he wasted 150 stone for nothing, as there's going to be nothing to grab around this area. The horse archers are just beginning to snowball. That this is another issue right now for Beastie. He doesn't have enough troops in the field to block the gathering of relics. And this is starting to just compound. Each of these small step-ups by DeMusliM are putting him miles ahead. On top of that, now going 2 TCs ahead of the Mongols, which is very easy to do as the Rus. Not only do you now have the relic yield, you also are going to have the villager lead. He already had that before. Wait. Wait. What is DeMusliM up to? I think this was a misclick. I swear to God, if he walks over to an outpost and drops it as BM, like, what is he doing with this relic? I think he misclicked. Yeah, okay. Yeah, thank God he realized before he reached the outpost. That outpost has a Springwood emplacement. He would have died. It happens, folks. Like, you kind of get a little bit dangsty when you're hopping between your different dudes. So, more or less what happened there is he hopped between 2 different warrior monks, and he clicked for 1 to drop off this relic. But then he probably clicked the other one by accident as well. That's going to be 4 relics total. Only 1 going to Beastie in the end. It's a double monk for nothing. Now these raid attempts. Lancers diving past. No Springwood upgrades queued first. Instead, DeMusliM will just get the arrow slits. Has got all the villagers garrisoned inside. The rest are going to peel back towards the secondary TC. And that's going to reveal to Beastie what's happened back here in case he didn't know already. There's not really much he can do about it. He's still trying to boom up. And if you look at the military aggression count, like, DeMuslim's still ahead. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Ben is contemplating an Imperial Age rush just because of how good his eco is getting. But for now, to think about doing that, he needs to put a den into Beastie's base. And Beastie has limited vision. Oh, DeMusliM reveals himself. That was a mistake. That was a misclick. Folks, you can't be seen by a primary TC, any TC like this. The TCs get blocked out by Stealth Forest, so that was a prime opportunity for Ben to get right on top of the wood line. Missed opportunity, in fact, as it seems like he wasn't clicking regularly enough, and they just stopped to auto-aggro on a blacksmith. Look to dive in. It's going to be guarded by Beastie, but Khan is going to go down, and Beastie is once again stuck on the defense. Not able to actually aggress into DeMuslim's base for any true value here. That means that Ben can start to structure himself around the midfield, or look to imp up. But instead, it's going to be a double down on the horse archers in the meantime. Hard onto the stone. DeMusliM might be going for an aggressive keep in the center of the map. Another interesting idea is to start utilizing these warrior monks. I really love to see the improved blessing and the Saints Reach. Especially, well, actually, I say Saints Reach #1. and improved blessing number 2, and then blessing duration number 3. The reason these are actually important is if you're going for a horse archer only comp, then juicing up their damage for free for so cheap, like with these warrior monks, is totally worth it. Because usually you kind of deathball them up to 40, 50 horse archers. Like one of these with the extra reach, with Saint's Reach, which is only 275 gold, they can buff your entire army in a fight. Whereas by default, like if you got 40 horse archers, you're maybe clipping like a third of them. And yes, for those just wondering, the Roost do get their hands on arrow slits and springles as well. It's a winter fortress, it's not an outpost, come on. It's a true defense. And there is actually an exploitable bug off the back of this that when you get your hands on the arrow slits, it increases springled range. Hence why that springled emplacement has 11 tower range in Castle Age when springleds have 10. Yeah. Seems reasonable. Seems reasonable. Horse Archer Deathball is building again. The timing could actually align really well because BC's done what we talked about. Like 17, 18 minutes in, you want to be having that second TC. He's already got it by 16. And he's going to start to clump a lot of villagers that need to move out. They are already extracting their initial holdings. They'll move into Stealth Forest. They'll move out into the secondary wood line. And that's going to shortchange your defense force. They're not going to be able to guard everywhere at once. There aren't anywhere near enough outposts up yet. Beastie's trying to fix that now, but DeMusliM is already raiding in. Oh. Oh. Oh, actually, he spotted him. Wait. Did he? Okay, he realized what he was doing now. The attack click through will go back for it. So, yep, we'll deny the outposts. Sneak through from the Lancers, but once again, for what? Like, there's too many wooden fortresses in these areas. You can't do anything with a small group of Lancers like this. The Muslim's going to go deeper. Eco lead still maintained. 12 up over Beastie. Not to forget that he also has the Relic lead as well and is now transitioning the farm, so won't be weak on the Eco. Beastie might, though. Garrisons and looks to move away. Packs up to wheel out of here. The Golden Vein pretty much all done with. Horse Archers could try to dive through, would sacrifice a lot in the process, so instead he's going to back away. Let's raid in. Lancers will find a few targets on the wood line. Should be minimum damage, though. Not enough. Really not enough. Like, you need to do more than bring this even. You need to chip away at him further. It's a good start. The problem is, when you make a raid like this, you might now encourage DeMusliM to wall this off, and this won't happen again. Demu struggling to find the value he came for. I gotta give credit to Beastie. Like, he's actually offsetting the timing where he has to spread out really well. It's a very delicate phase in the game for you in this matchup. Because right now, if your opponent is only pushing Horse Archers, like, he needs you to come out. He can't dive past, like, triple TC outpost defenses. Obviously, only double TC here, but the outpost as well can add a lot of damage in. And he doesn't know if they're upgraded with Springles or not. So instead, he'll just do what he can, and that's going to be to counter out the raids. Khan flops to the floor dead again. Seriously, what was this hate, Beastie? It's like Khan OP nerf. Kills it again and again and again and again. Outpost at least complete. This is actually really well played by Beastie. He wants to maintain vision in the Stealth Forest so you can see which direction the Horse Archers are coming in. Because he's actually built a static force. He's built Mangonels and Archers. These can really counter you out hard if you're not careful. And this is where Highview could be a remarkable map for, like, ambushing. I love the fact that you can ambush so effectively on the map, this map. And the reason that's very important is Mangonels, although they got nerfed in a lot of ways, where they are still a potent god is when you play up against range units. 3 Mangonels will make Tesco's brand horse meat of these archers. Sorry, I need a European reference. Aldi brand horse meat of these archers. Beastie. All he needs is a forward outpost now. Ooh. Oh, what? He's actually going to reveal himself. But this has an interesting dynamic because if he hides the Mangonels in the Stealth Forest, DeMuslim's going to come to engage. And when he does, he's going to get peppered full of rock. Villager pool. DeMuslim taking a calculated approach to this. Isn't going to reveal his Horse Archers, expose them just yet. Outpost going up. Mangonel shots coming in. Hits the keep instead of the villagers, and now turns around on the horse archers. You need to back up from this fight. Mangonels will start to pepper away at those villagers, but the textiles ensure the keep goes up. DeMusliM is going to stabilize. So Beastie will back up the plan slightly. Missed opportunity there. Wanted to deny the keep instead of taking out half the horse archers. That damage done to the horse archers would have probably allowed a flood through. Instead, he plays calculated, methodical in his approach. Doesn't want to take a higher risk play here. Instead, he will proceed one step at a time. Walk before you can run in this situation. Shout out to my boy Lash for the raid there. Check out Lash if you haven't already. He streams, he plays. He gets betrayed in the Mega Randoms. Does the whole wazoo. Beastie Cutie. Mangonels, like, you don't even need Trebs, really. Like, Mango's adding a lot of damage. DeMusliM is building the Springles, but the Springles haven't been upgraded. You're not an Imperial yet. And now, I feel like you're hard locked into this. You can't just disengage from this and say, I want an Imperial for free. The keep might give him the delay he needs, though. You can see he's starting to accrue the resources. The gold is lagging behind, but he's hard on it now. 11 people working at the back. That'll get him in there in about 2 minutes max. Actually, a minute, because he has 4 relics. Raid in. DeMuslim's sick and tired of waiting around. He actually forces Beastie's hand. He has to come back to defend. And the reason he has to come and defend, folks, is not because Beastie's just being a cheapskate not willing to make some trades happen. It's because his eco's starting to stretch out. And it means he can't just protect underneath a condensed location. So he needs to try and block this before it gets in. And DeMusliM, this crafty maneuver might have just bought him his Imperial. Because BC is no longer aggressing. He has 2 troops on the front line. That's not good enough. The keep will be repaired fast enough from this. The dive in. DeMusliM is going to force the garrison, the idle eco to come out. If he goes deeper, he's also going to discover the step readout. A step readout that BC was greedy with. He didn't build up the static defenses. And that means the horse archers can go into massacre here. Reveals it, sees it just in time, but can't stick on top of it. He's still going to force his opponent back. Is being pinned in the corner as the Mangonels wheel across. DeMusliM might be a throwaway army. The throwaway, it covers his greed. He reeks of greed right now. The stench of greed coming from DeMuslim's base is strong. Potent, in fact, as he's about to reach Imperial. Horse archers. Oh, wow. Beastie went back on the line. Uh-oh. Greed on both sides here. I've got to give credit to DeMusliM. He's going to eventually lose his horse archers. But this has been like 30, 40 idle eco back and forth, as well as several villagers going down. And now you can see it's almost a 20 villager lead for DeMusliM. On top of that, he got his Imperial, and he's still got half of his army out alive. And not only that, but by drawing the attention back towards BC's base, because he wanted to encompass a turtle instead of a tiger, he lost his foothold outside of Ben's base. The funny part is, like, he can still delay you further. DeMuslim's on his way up. I think he could actually dive this again. Yep, he agrees. I love this. So Ben's going to go back in, and that's once again going to force BC back. Because it's just enough horse archers that you have to give it attention. If it was like 5 or 6, you're like, the static defenses deal with it. 18, eyeballs wide open, chasing him away. Like, you can't go on the offensive. And this is where Mongols can feel weak on high view. The stealth forest, utilized the right way, in conjunction with the fact they can't wall up, leaves them very exposed like this. And exposed is definitely the word, as the eco at the back is going to be exposed. Several more villages going down, more idle being forced. Mangonel shots are going to be sidestepped. Still 15 archers diving deeper in the step readout. Oh, man. Beastie is just getting absolutely shellacked here. DeMusliM, just like that, got his entire tech up for free. There's no blood price, really. Like, you can say these units die, but, like, what did they do on the backside? It's worth it because you idled eco and killed several villages. I'd say, like, in total, he killed, like, what, at least 10 villages? He forced the aggression elsewhere. He idled 40 villages. Yeah, I honestly, you're happy with this. You could actually, if I was DeMusliM right now, I'd be like, this was such a good trade. I will now select this army and hold the delete key. And you still feel good. Now, the issue for BC is he has to tech up, but he's going to do so from a position of weakness. Because even if he tries to wheel up and apply pressure to Ben's base, because it's now a static force of siege at the back, the walk across of the map is long. 0.86 on these, 1 on these. That is with the greased axles. That's as good as it's going to get, unless he gets into the improved greased axles. So he's got a long way to go. And that's going to buy enough time for DeMusliM to regroup the remaining army that made it out, as well as stack up to 200 pop cap, and now break out of his base. And he'll break out bombards. Bombards that will very quickly dispatch all these outposts that you laid out in this stealth forest. Cheeky little one there. It's not going to last long. Trebs bring it down. Movement out. Springwood upgrades starting to come through. Just in time for the bombards to kill him. And he is making a direct break towards BC's base. Making sure that the vision is stripped away as well, so it'll be difficult for BC to anticipate the next moves. BC's next move seems all too obvious from here. He needs to make his way up. White Stupa on the backside, but he's not pop-capped. That could leave him weak. Now, one interesting dynamic, a long time ago, when you talked about the Rus versus the Mongols, the Rus got the edge on the Springalds, but remember that Banded Arms got heavily nerfed. Gives barely any additional range now. And what that means is in this situation, although you have 12.5 tile range on the Springalds, Beastie can now get the improved shutter triggers, which will give him 13 tile range total on those Springalds. Right here. Starting to breach him. Back up and roll away for Beastie in the meantime. Crawling continues. Mangonel shots coming out, but not an ideal target on 1 or 2 warrior monks here. Streltsy also in the composition. DeMusliM full in the range, just kind of encouraging, coaxing, begging Beastie to take those Mangonel shots because he'll get the trade out the Springolds. There it is, starts to snipe him out. Forces the push in. BC yet to get the upgrade. Still only 10 tower range. That's going to be a sacrifice right there. Horse Archers split up to go into the wood line. Wrap around on the side is going to force a lot of economical pressure on the Beastie as the main army is able to hold back the siege from Beastie. Just a few Mangonels can clean up this clump of archers. Mango's on the backside, no longer protected as the bombards and Spring will start to move in and trade them out. The villager pool, BC now committing to this. He's hard stuck and he knows it. He gets caught with his hand in the cookie jar. And all of a sudden, the jar smashes, glass everywhere in his hands. Heavily discounted. Army wiped. Gold. Non-existent as BC's trying to set up onto a new step readout line. It's going to delay his reboom. And the problem with that is he didn't deal with the siege. He wasn't willing to dive in. The missile resistance is just too high for archers. And it means that even if he went after 4 Springolds and a bombard, he'd probably lose that fight. And instead, now he's going to lose his base. And BC isn't rebuilding. Like, look, the rebuild, like, where is it? It's so slow. The stable's only coming out now. The time it's going to take you, you're going to lose all the forward infrastructure. It's more or less you just trying to float around the same amount of production buildings. The problem with that is that DeMuslim's production is fully unleashed. Look at this at the back. The siege workshops, the archery ranges up the wazoo. He's rebuilding fast. Streltsy included as DeMuslim marches in with the new gunpowder boys. Base is shrinking fast. Another issue for BC. Once this TC gets exposed, that's his food eco. The cardinal sin of all Mongol players, they condense all of their food under one location. The primary TC, and if that ever comes under siege, your food runs out. And folks, BC's food is already running out. Can't keep up with the demand at this rate. Bombards taking their time. The pastures on the front line going to start to be sacrificed. DeMusliM with just 2 bombards, he can just cut this all down. He even yoinks the relic. The villager pool coming out. DeMusliM, he can buffer off a wall attempt. The villager all in. BC just needs the bombards gone. But the price is going to be so damn high. Eco shrinking below 70. Ben, so confident about the win, he doesn't even use the Wololo because he knows he's already done it. BC is laid bare here. As the Rus will plow on through. And DeMusliM looking to complete the game in style with 5 relics banked. No answer out of BC, not yet. In fact, this is the moment where if I'm Ben, I open the chat in-game, I type, hey BC bro, I got 5 relics, XD. Beastie reading that alone should be enough for him to just want to get out of the game. There's nothing he can do anymore. Woo. I mean, honestly, like, Roos, like, the way that DeMusliM played that, the economical exploits were really good. Beastie got caught off guard when he tried to, like, block onto the board, and I feel like this started to snowball from there. It was actually a really good read by DeMusliM to make his way up, and I love the way he fully invested in Horse Archers because I think this is the map to do it on. I think this is probably the best map to still do Roos Horse Archer spam on. If you can block vision in the forests, you can always snipe your opponent's eco because the reaction speed required multiple times, like, it's so difficult to stop all villages from going down. Like, you can maybe save some, but you're going to lose a few in the process of retreating because Horse Archers move so fast. And that's a detail that Ben leveraged to a great degree, especially that flank attack that enables Imperial Age. That was phenomenally done. He identified that Beastie was playing on an open map as a Civ that can't wall up with a static composition, no cavalry. And it meant that he could just have him dancing to his tools as he reached into that late game and ensured that it was so easy to win with that Roos Imperial Age.